think favoritism also helps in your salary progression?
Every sensible manager will have their favorites.
Do you have any favorites?
I have favorites. I'm not going to answer that. Fundamentally, if you feel that the system is rigged, then there is no point in staying there. And the first moment you get out of that place, you should go. Get out.
Do you think an employee should be rewarded for their loyalty?
Just being loyal is never enough. They may decide to let you go. I'm being completely honest. Currently, my salary is 72 lakhs.
Damn. How do you justify that salary?
Justify. I think I'm underpaid.
Proudly part of the 01 network by Zerodha.
Hi, I'm Sankalp. I have 4 years of work experience. I currently take care of growth at Wint Wealth and I earn about 25 lakhs per annum.
Hi, I'm Vinay. I have 9 years of work experience. I am the co-founder and CMO at Wint Wealth, and currently my salary is 72 lakhs.
Damn. How do you justify that salary?
Justify. I think I'm underpaid by market standards. If I have to explain this to you, typically two factors which will always affect the salary you make, right? One is, let's say, what is the market benchmark for the kind of role you are at, depending upon the scale of the company. And second is, even in that salary bracket, what sort of performance have you delivered, whether the company is currently growing, are you in a phase where you are able to carry the momentum forward or not. Now, another thing is being a co-founder, there are certain trade-offs that you have to make to keep the cost to company low. So that's another reason why I would not be drawing salary as per my market standard, right? If let's say you're a P90 talent, what do I mean by P90 is in terms of the performance and output that you give, you are comparable to companies which are performing at P90s, you should get P90 or P99 salary. At that scale, if your performance or the output of whatever you lead is not at that level, then probably you'll get P50, P75 of the salary, right? Let's say I quit my job and I enter, let's say, the market. To hire someone like me, what sort of performance have I delivered in the past which would justify then that should I be at the P50 of that salary bracket or should I be at the P99 of that salary bracket? By that measure, considering the scale we are at and considering the kind of performance we have been able to deliver in the past, I feel I'm underpaid by market standard.
What do you think would be the fair compensation?
It would be upwards of 1 CR by now. What do you think? Do you think you justify your salary?
Yeah, I've been extremely lucky in terms of the problem statements I got to pick, and touch wood we have delivered. So I comfortably justify my salary. You've reached 72 lakhs in 9 years.
Yeah.
How did you achieve it?
So I passed out of IIT Bombay in 2016, joined PSTK at a salary of 10 lakh per annum, quit it in 2017, joined Shop 101 at a salary of 12 lakh per annum. I was there for 3 years, roughly 3 years. In 2020, I left Shop 101 at a salary of 26 lakhs. I joined Whitehead Junior at a salary of 40 lakhs per annum, quit Whitehead Junior in 2022 at a salary of 55 lakhs. I joined Wint Wealth with my co-founders in 2022 at a salary of 60 lakh. In 2025, I'm at a salary of 72 lakhs. Now you tell me about your salary progression.
So I graduated from Christ University in 2021. I joined Wint Wealth at 4.25 lakhs as investor relations executive. In a year, I got promoted to associate growth manager. I was taking care of CRM then. My salary was 10 lakhs per annum. Then next year, I started taking more responsibilities in the team. I was earning about 16 lakhs in the next year. And then 2025, I'm earning 25 lakhs per annum.
What do you think has paid you better? Agreeing to your manager's opinion or fighting for your own opinions?
I would say reading the room.
Reading the room. Care to explain?
Yeah, no. So if the decision is irreversible, and if I disagree, I would fight for it, or I would like try my best to persuade the decision. But if it's a reversible decision, I would disagree and commit. So that way we can move a lot faster. And yeah, I think a balance of both has paid me well.
Nice.
How much of your salary is because of pedigree education?
Funda for this is real simple, right? Pedigree education could only give you a good starting salary. It in no way sort of dictates how quickly can you grow. How quickly can you grow depends on two choices. One, are you in a company which is growing really fast? And second, how significantly are you contributing to its growth, right? So let's just compare by example, right? I passed out, I started at a salary of 10 lakh. You passed out, you started at a salary of roughly 4 lakhs, right? Within a span of, let's say, 3 years or 4 years, you're at 25 lakh ka salary, right? I passed out in 2016. Within a span of 3 years, I reached a similar salary. So practically the gap between you and me is just a year's time. And most likely if you continue to perform like this, you would be able to even cover that gap up. So despite you starting non-pedigree college or me starting at a pedigree college, you work in a company which is growing really fast, and you have made significant contribution to its growth. You can cover up for any difference of salary at the beginning of the career.
What do you think is the current gap in my skill set which is stopping me from doing your job right now?
Can you do my job or not? उसका आंसर हमेशा हाँ ही रहेगा. The answer is always going to be yes. You decide to quit Wint Wealth today and you start something of your own. You would very well be able to do my job. One, you need to sort of learn how to lead different teams with very different objectives to success. Currently, you do really well in sort of leading a team which you have to a certain outcome that is specifically in a single lane. As you take more things up in marketing, you will come to realize that different problem statements require different judgment, and different teams require different way of leading them, right? So that is something you'll have to pick along the way. And let's say if you are successful in doing so, there's no reason for you to not be paid as the same salary as me.
Do you think favoritism also helps in your salary progression?
Yeah, entirely. Matlab, every manager, every sensible manager will have their favorites.
Do you have any favorites?
I have favorites. I'm not going to answer that, but I'll tell you why every good manager will have their favorites, right? Now, assume, let's say you're working in a company which is meritocratic, giving responsibility, giving salaries purely based on what's the merit of the person, right? So every person who's sort of well-performing, reliable, will always be a favorite of the manager. And that does not mean that they'll stay a favorite forever. Fundamentally, if you feel that the system is rigged, then there is no point in staying there. But if you firmly believe, if you trust that the place you're working at, the manager you're working under, is a fair person, is going to reward people purely on the basis of merit or demerit, that's the right kind of place to be at. And expect the manager then to have favorites, but rather than focusing too much on whether there is favoritism or not, try to understand what leads to it. What sort of work, what sort of skill, what sort of mindset at work, what sort of culture, workplace makes you a favorite. And once a favorite, need not stay favorite at all times. Every time you perform really well, you make more chips. Every time you sort of exhibit poor judgment, poor execution, poor behavior, you lose your chips. Anybody who's sort of continuing to behave well, perform really well, and conducting business in a way where the company sort of benefits of it, will continue to earn chips and continue to stay a favorite.
Usually, employees also use the strategy of like jumping from one company to another every 2 years.
Yeah.
And that gives a significant boost every 2 years.
Yeah.
So, how would you categorize it? Like, do you think that's a good enough approach?
The right approach is the one which is working for you, right? So I'm not here to judge what's the right approach, what's a bad approach, right? Any jump which is made because you intend to stay in a well-growing company, if you feel the current company has stopped growing or your role has stagnated, it's not changing much, and despite talking to your manager, despite talking to the company, you don't see it changing a lot, it is fair if you choose to sort of move on from there and go to a place which is growing right now, and your role is also growing. But if you're at a company which has generally been like that, but it has sort of momentarily hit a period of time when they're not able to grow due to certain challenges, if you have the conviction that the company would grow and your role would again sort of lead to growth, and you find that company's culture the right fit for you, again the decision could not be single dimensional, right? The decision involves a lot more factor. What's your camaraderie like? How well do you know? What sort of relationship you have at the place you work at? It's not always right to think very short term. There would, in any company which is growing really fast, there would be periods in their journey where they will stagnate for some period. But if you have conviction that the company would be able to overcome that stagnation and sort of be again in a growing stage, and you really find that company to be a good fit for you personally, then you should think more long term, stay there. And that also sort of builds character and builds trust.
Do you think an employee should be rewarded for their loyalty?
Loyalty with being performing in the company would always be like a deadly combo. Somebody who's loyal plus has always contributed to growth of the company in a significant way will always be on a fast track of growth in every way. But just being loyal is never enough. In an extreme case where the phase of you being non-performing, while you have been very loyal to the company, if you have also been non-performing, then in places which are high growth, they may decide to let you go. I'm being completely honest about this. Now I have some situations where I want to know how would you react. I'm getting mixed signals. Some team members want frequent feedback and constant clarity, while others feel micromanaged when I check in. I'm trying to find a balance, but I do not fully understand which approach works better for your generation. How do you see it?
Yeah, why are we trying to fit everyone in the same mold? I think my generation thrives on individuality. I feel you should have a very open conversation with employees as what kind of management style do they prefer or works for them, and then find a middle ground of what works for both of you. And I think that would lead to a that would go a long way. Lately, I feel guilty about taking time for myself.
Hmm.
The team is lean, and every leave makes me feel like I am letting someone down. I want balance, but I also want to be seen as reliable. I'm not sure how to manage this feeling without affecting my standing in the team.
A right manager will budget for downtime, right? They will budget that their team members can't operate like machines. There would be days they need to they'll fall sick. There would be days they'll need to fulfill their personal obligations, whether it's a friend's wedding or visiting parents at in their hometown, right? So what a good manager would do is budget for these days, have enough band. Even if it's a lean team does not mean that you make people work around the year without any downtime, and it is in your selfish interest to make sure that you are budgeting for the downtime so that your team could also focus on their life, not compromise on their personal life over a longer period of time, and have enough people in the team that if anybody requires days off, if anybody wants to go home or etc, right, there would be on those days the team could support. Any place which is not budgeting for this does not really care about your longevity, and the first moment you get out of that place, you should go get out. When we call for in-office days, there is always a visible dip in enthusiasm. I want to understand what holds people back. Is it the commute, the atmosphere, or simply that home has been the default work zone? What do you think needs to change to make office days feel worthwhile?
So, firstly, I really feel because see, we are in Bangalore, the traffic is a big problem here. I could just wake up at 9:50 and for a 10 a.m. meeting and just perform really well. But if
Yeah.
you want me in office for a 10 a.m. meeting, that means I have to plan really well in advance everything. I think the answer lies in that any task which should be done as collaborative way should be given on office days, and that makes us ki yaar, okay, our outcome is going to come better here.
Yeah.
Be it whiteboarding, brainstorm, or team lunch, let's say like all these things. If it's something which I know it's there's no external dependency, it's just me, I have to sit alone and do my job, I think we should avoid calling in office for those jobs. I have a side project that I'm genuinely passionate about.
Okay.
It does not clash with work, but I feel like the moment I mention it, people will assume I'm distracted or planning to leave. How do I talk about it openly without being judged?
It does not really matter what people think. The only thing that matters is what your manager thinks at the end of the day, and it entirely depends on you. If you're someone who could who can cope with it, who would not let the outcomes of their work get affected while you pursue something like this, then well and good. That's an understanding that you have with your manager, and as long as that understanding is being met, it's entirely fine. But what I see more often is it is hard for people to focus on something really well, and a lot of people struggle with focusing on something. So in most of the cases, what would end up happening is the focus will entirely shift over there. Even when you are at work, if you are more motivated about your side project, even that time your mind may be at work, but you might be thinking about your side project. The worry of a manager would really be that, are you really focused? Would you be able to create the kind of outcomes which your manager needs you to create? And if you're able to solve for focus, great. But none of us are as good at compartmentalizing our focus as we think we are. What I would prefer is to not have people around me who have side projects. As simple as that.
I see people who negotiate hard or talk loudly about their work. They are getting better raises than those who just quietly deliver. Sometimes I think I am being punished for being low drama. Should I become that loud person, or is that just how the system works?
A better place would be where you don't necessarily need to be loud or be a bootlicker in order to make sure that you get growth. So any place which is overly relying on the noise you are making is a place which does not have the right ways to communicate with their team members would never be able to actually perform eventually, because they may sort of give more attention to people who may not necessarily be performing.